Like many tribal groups throughout history, the Yupik peoples of northwestern Alaska have for centuries incorporated the natural world into their culture, customs, and traditions. However, due to the isolation of the Alaskan natives from the global network until the late 19th century, the Yupik culture fostered a unique approach to representing the cycle of the soul, or Inua, and the thriving entity of nature. This isolated development of nature worship is well represented by the ceremonial mask with seal or sea otter spirit, which reinforces the nature mother concept through ritualistic symbols of nature and the motif of circular arrangement and embodiment of the cycle of the spirit. The Yupik people observed cycles all around them and incorporated them into their artwork in what Phyllis Morrow considers to be the circle and dot motif. This concept, Morrow explains, has emphasized the use of circular objects, particularly hoops, eyes, and dots. These circular forms are apparent in the artwork shown and are commonly used to represent the passage of the spirit. In fact, holes drilled into joints and appendages, such as the hands of mask with seal or sea otter spirit, were common among the Yupik. In spiritual rituals, these holes provided aid or prevented the cycle of spiritual rebirth to continue, as is the case in captured game. Naturally, it would be this cycle that stabilizes the structure of all masks, bringing a sense of both visual and spiritual harmony to the works of the Yupik natives, a structure that is evidenced in the arrangement of mask with seal or sea otter spirit. Not only does the central portion have eyes that signify knowledge and wisdom, but the hands of the otter or seal also contain holes which signify the passage of the spirit of the animal from one world to the next. Also present among almost all Yupik masks, and yet another distinguishing factor and example of natural reverence, is the pervasiveness of animal worship. In almost every ceremonial mask, the incorporation of animals speaks to their spiritual importance and cultural significance. These masks were used during the Bladder Festival, a festival dedicated to the honoring of the animals killed in the previous year's hunt. This was so that the spirit of these animals, released after their physical death, would provide food for the next year. Mask with seal or sea otter spirit, therefore, honors the otter or seal, both highly valued for their fur and blubber, respectively. The animals sacrificed were vital in order to protect the Yupik from the harsh winter freeze, and thus they were treated as honored guests. The mask holds a fish in its mouth, further reinforcing the concept of life and abundance that characterized western Alaska, and displays the telltale spirit holes, emphasizing the passage of the spirit this festival celebrates. This reverence for the cycle of life and the soul is easily seen as a response to the environment the Yupik people inhabited. They lived in a land of natural abundance, a land that gave them plenty of food and shelter from the harsh winters, and a land that they saw as sentient, a living, breathing being whose actions were both an all-powerful force and a reaction to the native peoples of Alaska.
Connor Frew, how are you, Connor?
Good, nice to be here.
Great. So this is an essay that you wrote about the cycle of the soul.
Yeah.
So did you get to select this, or was this chosen for you?
Basically, somebody came in and they gave us a book of a catalog of the stuff that the DMA had, and I was just flipping through, and I really like circles, so they sort of stand out to me, and especially something that's such a modern concept like perfect balance and unity existing in, sort of a tribal setting is something that stood out. So I just was like, I kind of really want to do this. This is awesome. So that's basically what happened.
So how much time did you spend with it? Did it come to you immediately what this was about? Did you spend a lot of time with it? Did it slowly evolve? Did your thoughts change?
Usually they change. Like, I don't really write essays over small chunks of time over a long period of time. I, get a lot of soda and then I write it all at once.
Okay.
And then when I realize I've made mistakes, I go back the next day and I correct them. But this was, I wanted to put a lot more effort into this one, so I decided to delve into some of the research, and it's really fascinating. So, like one of the scholars that works closely with these people, the Yupiks, her name is Anne Fiona Briorden, and she's one of the professors at Seattle's University of Washington, I believe, and she writes extensively about these people. So I was like, this is awesome. She's on JSTOR. I'm going to read all of her stuff. So I spent a lot of time just doing that.
Is there anything that you learned what surprised you the most? And also, was there anything that changed your perception of the world or of art?
I realized that I'm really drawn to sort of unique cultures. I mean, lots of people like special things, and to me this is special. So they really emphasize the cycle of the soul, Inua, the cycle of the soul that passes from the body to the world, as evidenced in like the concept of the circle would be the cycle, stability, balance. And so like reading about the way that these people live, that they have such reverence to a environment that can literally kill them if they're not careful. Like they respect it deeply and they really appreciate it, and that's something that I appreciate.
So you were able to relate to it even across all that time and space, and
Yeah, definitely.
so there's something about that there's that tension in our culture as well.
There's a lot of that.
Fascinating. So you learned something about yourself through these people that you'd never met through the art.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. That was a beautiful essay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Connor.